Hi, it's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts. I brought my craft cart back here because the month of May, I'm trying to clear the cart. See how nice and clean this top shelf is? That's because I took all of the yarn that was in the top shelf, I put it in this, and I want to get it back in the cart with more color groupings so that it's a little easier to see what I've got and make decisions on what to make from there. The top shelf was all the little cakes of yarn when I finished up another project, and okay, rather than bring it back here and file it away or try to put it on the shelf with all the full skeins of yarn, I just go on the top of the cart. The second shelf is basic and bizarre. Okay. It has a lot of white yarn, just cakes of white yarn. It's got some black yarn down there, and it has the bizarre stuff. This I've talked about in a few other videos, how I went to a thrift store and I bought a 1-pound cone of purple yarn. Then I got it home and I found out it's lace weight. So I've got it caked up so I can use it double, or I can use both cakes and use it quadruple. I mix it with other yarns and make stuff that way. I've got some really fuzzy yarn down here in the bizarre category. Oops. I have one of my scrappy balls that I use to make my Mr. Ugly dolls, and I only have 2 Mr. Ugly dolls in my Etsy shop at the time, so I think it's time to make a Mr. Ugly doll. There's some ribbon yarn, some eyelash yarn, so basic and bizarre on that shelf. And the bottom shelf has a few skeins of partially used yarn and a couple of books. I'm not even going to go over that right now. If I see something down there that, like there's some orange yarn, if I decide there's something I want to make with orange yarn, I'll pull that out. But for the most part, I'm trying to finish off this top shelf and the project bags. We have some project bags that I think have been hanging on here since Christmas. I got this card for Christmas. This is what I call the Sprawling Puppy. It's Sadie the Puppy by Sweet Fluffy Stitches on Instagram. There's the cute little pattern of the puppy. I have made 3, maybe 4 of these before, and they turned out really cute. So I have the pattern and the yarn and the crochet hook here, but I never even started it. But it's hanging on my craft cart. Let's see if I can get him done in May. Okay, next. Oops, come on. Is this little... Ooh. Okay, I know what this one is. It should not have a little thing of red yarn in it with it, though. This is a blanket that I was working on for Boggy Creek. It's going to be stripes of this Mandela yarn and the lavender, and I got that far and stopped. Apparently it did not go to Boggy Creek with the shears. Maybe next year. What's this one? Oh, this is the Sloth Planter Kit. I have the head of the sloth about halfway done, and I got tired of working with the tiny little yarn, and I gave it up. I need to get back to that. And the last bag that is hanging from the cart is Baby Sugar Dragon by Manic Yarn, 2018. Once upon a time, I was gifted the full library of Manic Yarn's patterns. And I made several of them. And I decided I was going to try to make this dragon, which is very complicated and a lot of pieces. And I pulled out a big thing of purple yarn. And I think I made one piece. And then it has been sitting there ever since. I have the hook in here. I saw a hook down the bottom. Yeah. Okay. And there's also Crocky is a work in progress up by my chair. I need to get one more small bag like that so I can hang Crocky too. Okay, now onto this mess of yarn. I want to get it put sort of neatly back in here. So I'm going to start with yellows. Yellows, oranges, and browns. Down at the one end, I have that big cake of yellow. I have a small cake of orange. I'll have to make sure that this section is closest to my chair. So if I make anything that's like chicken, duck, glam chick that needs a beak, I've got that color there. There's some more orange, more of a burnt orange. Let's get some browns. Here is a sort of a rusty brown. Put that over there. Tiny little bit of brown. What can I make with something this little? I'll think on that. Stripes. A few tan or sandy. This is a very thin yarn. This will need to be doubled up, so I'm not going to get anything very big out of that. Any more browns? Well, there's the yarn that I was using for chicken keychains. I should make some more of those. This purple eyelash yarn, that should go on the second shelf for basic and bizarre. Okay, putting that down. Looks like we're done with browns. How about we do greens now? I got a pretty big cake of a dark green. And then there's an olive, light olive, bright green. This is almost like a rug yarn. It's a little bit heavier than a worsted weight and a little bit scratchier. So I'll have to find something that I can make the whole thing in that. Maybe a leggy frog. He'll be a scratchy leggy frog, but sometimes frogs. Maybe he's got an issue with dehydration. This is, I call it light celery. Not much there. And this is it's green, almost blue, like a light sage. So there's the greens. Okay, some blues. I have a DK of a turquoise, bright turquoise. And a small cake of robin's egg blue. We've got a blue variegated. That might make a cute dragon. A royal blue. This is also either sport weight or DK. I'll have to combine this with something. Well, this is looking so tidy now. Navy blue. More of a dark royal blue. Oh, I need to... When the center of the cake is sort of unraveled, I wrap it around my finger, then stick my finger in there to get it back in the right spot. Okay, this is one of those that, like lavender blue. It's not, it looks in this lighting lavender to me, but I do know how to talk. under other lighting, it might look baby blue. So I guess we will be, oh, nope, there's one more blue here, like a slate blue. Get that tidied up a bit. So now I'm going to squish all these together and try to get the purples in here. Here is a little bit of that. This should go down in the bottom tray, because this is that lace weight purple that goes with the basic and bizarre. I'll probably be using a bunch of that, but I don't want it on the top shelf. And a darker purple. All done with purples. This should have gone with the browns. It's a sort of a tweedy, marled look, stonewash, light brown. We have 3 grays here. These 2 are pretty close. And this one is sparkly. Okay, you're going to fit in here. You are going to fit. Come on, I don't have room for a second layer. Okay, there's 2 whites that are going down to the second shelf. There is a very pale pink. We're going to squeeze that in there between the blues. Yeah, blues you're moving over and the pinks are going in. I have a pretty big cake of bubblegum pink. You have to figure out what I need to make in bubblegum pink. Get that in there. And last but not least, we have a tiny little cake of pink in Dusty Rose, I think. We'll squeeze them in right there. And there's a tiny little bit of red that had fallen into one of my project bags. And I don't have red in this, so I'm going to stick it in there next to the blue. Okay, I'll get a picture of this and put it like over here. I'll do a before and after. Lean over this way so you have the before and after of what the top of my craft cart looked like. And I am going to move this back up on my chair and get started on some projects. I spent a little while today going through my Etsy shop and determining which listings could use some more items in there. Because if I were to make something and do, okay, suppose I decided that Ziggy the zebra, needed to be listed on Etsy, he would probably get his own listing with 10 pictures. So we get a close-up of like the back of his head and a side view and a close-up of the face and him next to a ruler and a close-up of the arm. Just a lot of close-ups so that people can really see everything about him, because he's a more expensive item. But then I'd have to pay the 20 cents for the listing fee. If I went to my listing for hedgehogs, I've already got 3 or 4 hedgehogs in there. If I make another hedgehog and add it to that listing, then I don't have to pay the 20-cent listing fee until it sells. Once it sells, Etsy will charge a 20-cent fee to renew that listing so that the other items in the listing can sell. So it's just a personal glitch is the word that's coming to mind. Personal preference. That I like to have my Etsy fees paid out of my Etsy orders. I don't like having to make a payment to Etsy. But if I get to the end of the month and I haven't had a sale since my payment, like right now, they're telling me I need to make a payment because they sent me a payment for stuff that sold last week, but then a bunch of items auto-renewed. So they want payment for that. So I'm trying to avoid incurring extra Etsy expenses unless I make a sale. If I make a sale and it's like, oh, somebody bought a gecko, I've got $15 now between the postage and I can put up a few new listings and then they'll just take it out of my check. I won't have to send them any money. So it's, they're going to get their money one way or another. I would just rather it automatically be taken out of a sale. So I'm just trying to build up the listings. A lot of times when I'm typing the word listing, I accidentally type lusting, and apparently now I say it too. Okay, listings. Build up the listings on Etsy rather than make some new ones right now. That's the plan. And I've got scribbles all over my day planner to help me stick to the plan. So that's the cart that I'm starting with for the beginning of May. Now that I'm done with my April freebie a day challenge, I have a couple of books. Where's my Vanna book? My Vanna book has to go out. Any of these? She does a seal in blue. That seal is in blue. I have blue here. I could use the big thing of yellow with some of the brown rusty to make that giraffe. Oh yeah, this might be one of the first things I make. And I have the Crochet by Jenna book that I got, I think just before April started, with all the no-sew patterns. And I didn't really have time to do those because I was so tied up with April's freebie of the day. So it's like there's this freedom now. I can make fun stuff. But I have to make stuff and get it into the Etsy shop. Okay. So that's the craft cart. I don't have much on the sides. I mean, I've got a thing of Scotch tape here. I've got a stitch. I love these clicker counters. I have like 6 of them. Do you think I can ever find one when I want it? Of course not. There's one right here, but I forget that it's there. This skein of yarn was getting messy. Yeah. Oh, and there's a pair of scissors hanging from the craft cart. These go back to last August when I did a show down near Corning, New York. And when I got to the hotel that night, I realized I didn't have scissors. So I went to the Walmart that was right by the hotel. And I was looking for scissors. I ended up getting 2 pairs of little kindergarten safety scissors. And I put a string on them. So they're a little harder to lose. But that's hanging from the craft cart. Well, let's see if I can get this top shelf cleared by the time May is finished. If I can finish off 1 or 2 of the works in progress that are hanging there and clear the top section and finish Lori's scrap bag number 2, I will consider May a success. And I've got to do a little better with, I'm trying now, before I even upload the video, to get the pattern links into the description and put up a nice thumbnail instead of just letting YouTube pick something from the video. So I'm trying to be better about that. Let's see if I can keep that up through May. But then I can schedule them, like for the next morning. Like I'm making this on Thursday night, and I'll schedule it for Friday morning so that I don't have to worry about getting a video out first thing Friday morning, because Friday morning I'm going to be out doing shopping. Yep. I'm getting there. I'm developing a schedule, trying to be more organized and more techie. I'm getting there. Now I need to start figuring out about doing lives. Lori said she'd do some with me and help me through the learning curve, but it's scary. I'd rather play with yarn than do scary things. Bye-bye.